Hi, I'm Doni. I'm Trinidadian Costa Rican,
Hi, I'm Rhonda. I'm Afro-Honduran. And we are
and we're
your
your
co-hosts
co-hosts for
for
Negra
Negra
como
como
soy,
soy.
or I am Afro-Latina. Every Tuesday, we'll bring you the insights, perspectives, and history of the African diaspora in Latin America.
To educate, enlighten, and hopefully create a sense of belonging for you, our listeners and viewers.
Negra como soy is brought to you by Cultures, the global multicultural magazine. Cultures celebrates cross-cultural identity because everyone should feel like they matter. Hey, Rhonda, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué
Hey! ¿Qué pedo vos? Todo está bien aquí. How you doing over there?
Ah, ¿estás bien? ¿Y tú?
¿Estás bien? ¿Estoy
Ah,
bien? ¿Estoy
ah,
bien?
yeah, I guess I should have said a story. Man, I'll tell you, it's so funny. We were talking with Sashima before about language and Garifuna language, and I was just saying um, how mind blowing it was just to think differently because the foundation of English, which is my first language, is so different even than Spanish or, French and German to me weren't too bad when I learned them, but Spanish was a different way of thinking for me. And as he spoke about Garifuna, that was different as well. So it's funny. I said, "Estás bien?" You're like, "Estoy bien." Oh, yes, I forgot.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's so much to think about with all the conjugations and
Yes,
feminine and masculine. There's so
yes,
much to think about, but I love it all. I love learning language, and so
yes,
it's nice when you get the challenge of this is something completely different. You don't have the foundation for it. So growing up speaking Spanish, learning French was easy because the foundation was there. Learning Portuguese on the fly, like there, was easy because the foundation was there. Trying to learn Mandarin, which I've done over the past 6 years now, is completely different because there is no foundation, but there's still that joy to it because then there's the additional
yeah,
challenge of growing if you're a person that likes that, right? So, we talked about being scholarly and
yes.
appreciating learning, and so that enthusiasm is there for me.
Well, I love that Sashimo also had talked about how it doesn't matter how old you are, like that learning. I mean, and actually, I think that keeps you young, right? Because it keeps your
Hmm.
brain flexible, especially if the language is very different, because you have to think in a completely different manner, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
this leads us into today.
Reintroducing Mr. Emilio Sasamu Thomas. Sasamu, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me back.
Yes, and I did not say last time that in addition to your educational background, you have a degree in education, but you also have 6 years as a music teacher, and you're the founder of Project Inebesi. Now I'm using
Inebese.
Inebese,
Hmm.
and Satuye Records in Belize.
Yes.
Yes? Yeah, so we would love to hear more about your musical journey. Like what are the foundations of that and what brought you to the place that you are now in your
Okay.
performance.
When I was 13 years old, I attended this school, which was it was my third school in the primary grade, and I had a cousin who was a drummer, and I wanted to drum like him, but I think that the snare drum was too much for me, so I stayed with the bass, the basics. And so I started there, and then 3 years later, I'm in high school. I became a part of the drumming marching band, and then in my second year of high school, sorry, during that time, my first year, I became a rapper and a singer. You know, and in my second year of high school, I went to work in the summer at this place in the capital, around the capital, and there were guitars and pianos everywhere. But by this time, I had already joined the band because my cousin, when he visited my godparents, my godbrother told him that look at him, he's gonna write a song very fast on this beat. And I didn't know all of this was happening until months later. So he said, so he took me to his house and he taught me how to play the piano for a couple minutes. And the following Sunday, I'm playing my first songs in the church along with his band. And my
Oh
fingers were
my
like
God.
rubber. My fingers were very fast. you know. So after that, what happened? I joined his band, and I told myself in the early days of his band, I will never learn how to play the guitar. That shit looks hard, you know. So I was stranded one of the summers at work, and there were pianos, but I didn't have access to them. They were very strict kinda about the pianos, but there were guitars everywhere. And then my boss's wife, she had this book with guitar chords behind it, and I could have made sense out of it. So every day for 6 days, my fingers were getting purple, and I was, you know, and I taught myself how to play a guitar out of a book, and that became my main instrument ever since I was about. I did my strumming for the first time 4 days before my birthday, before I turned 18. Yeah, and the guitar, I got stuck with it. It became my favorite instrument, and I have been learning and playing ever since. I've been getting better, better. If I spend time, if I spend a day playing the guitar, that's like 20 years. You know that, and so guitar is my second language, guitar music. And sometimes I get hired just to go in a studio and create stuff, or producers would send the track to me. I put in some guitar styles and I send it back to them.
Mm.
So that's that. Um, I taught a lot of people how to play different instruments while I was in high school. And there was this 1 year before I finished that I came back from work in the summer, and I helped out my music teacher from high school in his summer program. And then I started my own program by teaching songwriting, how to play the recorder, the piano, the guitar, and stuff like that. That's how I used to earn a lot of money in the summers. And I taught music privately. So even before I became a professional teacher, I was already teaching music. And when I went to study to become a teacher, it was even easier for me because I learned a lot of ways how to be creative in the classroom, or when it comes to one on one. And I tricked a lot of people into playing the guitar. I, I, I developed a system of you playing some chords, and you'll be strumming in your first lesson, and you think you're a bloody expert. And so with that with that psychology, you think you're so good, and then it will inspire you to even do better, because the only thing you have to do thereafter is to work on your speed and accuracy.
Mm.
So that's how I tricked a lot of people into playing musical instruments. And I don't think that there is someone in the world who doesn't know how to play. You just have to find the right instructor with the right attitudes and explaining how the instrument works. So I don't see a lot of difference between instruments, among instruments. And
Yeah.
I've played on about 3 bands, and I didn't like bands because my first band experience, actually 4 bands, my first band experience was terrible. A lot of um, problems with teenagers and stuff like that. And so this guy, when my godmother turned 50, uh, she she had a birthday party. The family created this birthday party for her, and the guy who owns this band has been trying to convince me for like over a year and a half to join his band. But I didn't. I had a bad bloody mentality about bands. So when I saw them perform for the first time with these Garifuna instruments and guitars and piano, I was like, okay, I need to join this band. You know, and that's how I started to play Garifuna music more and more. And I gained a lot of experience because they played very often.
Mm.
I developed my musical skills of how to work with people as well, my musicianship. And then there was this one time I started to do my solo stuff, and I went on TV. I started going TV. My music teacher told me that this guy is gonna find me, and in less than 2 weeks, they found me because of the way I spoke on TV. That I would have been the person to continue a mission that has been started by a particular band, the Garifuna Collective. And I went on my first travels in Mexico with Aurelio Martinez and the Garifuna Collective for a couple days. Festival del Caribe, they call it, in Quintana Roo. And a couple weeks after, I was asked to go on the biggest tour, which would have been 7 weeks in Europe. And I wanted to turn it down because I wasn't pleased with what I experienced. But um, about 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, the owner of the record label company, he calls me and tells me something about, if you want to be a successful solo musician, I
Yes.
think that this band would be a very good opportunity for you to network. And that was the only thing that made sense for me. And so I told him that I am interested, started to train, and I went there as a drummer, and when I came back, everything changed because my mind opened to all of these, I think, 10, 11 countries I was traveling in 7 weeks. And I found my way back to Europe twice after that, and then a fourth time with the band. And there's this guy Alobando in my band, and he's crazy. He's like, he's gonna study the map when he's at the hotel, and I'm gonna tag along with him, and he's gonna look for one thing, and then he's gonna navigate his way to where he wants to go. I was like, how the hell do you do that? And during the entire 7 weeks, I was not interested in doing such until I got back to Belize. Then I developed the confidence of traveling on my own. And I've been to so many countries without being with the band for like culture and music stuff. And with every time I had an opportunity to travel and learn, I learned as much as I could. And I came back home and I taught it, and I conversed with people and the young children, my students, the people I mentor, and I shared. I didn't keep things to myself because I don't think I own knowledge or information.
Mm.
So as much as I can share back home, I would teach, I would inspire, and I created opportunities for Project Inebise members to travel to Kazakhstan, to Mexico, to Panama every year, and stuff like that. And I never saw myself different from the people in the government, because whatever they can do, I can do too. You know?
That's
And I use my network and knowledge and experience to create a product to put on the stage. So as much as I was young, I was about 24, 25 doing all of this. I didn't see age as a relevant excuse not to do these things. Because in this place, they wait until you're old, and a lot of people take a long time to retire because of the system. People are underpaid, and they're always hustling because they're not paid enough. So I understood all of these things, and it made me open to creating solutions for them. And that's why I keep on advocating for people to become self-employed, start their own business. And my one of my pitches is, let me help you monetize your passion. You know, whatever you can think about, you can make money from it. You can create a job. You can create work. And so my musical career, I use music as a tool, like I said, in order to get where I want to go, in order to go and get intelligence, come back home, rebuild myself, as well as inspire others to do the same. And so music is my life. The first thing that I think about in the morning, while I'm gaining consciousness, and while losing consciousness in the evening, it's the last thing on my mind. So it's a life for me, and my family members, my friends are very, very proud because I kept at it and I never gave up and I was consistent.
So
that's
how was
incredible. You
that? Oh, sorry about that,
no no
Rhonda.
no go no go ahead.
How was the band experience when you went on that tour?
Which one of them? The
The
first
one
tour?
where, yes, when they had to talk you into it and said, "Hey, it's about the networking," where you were considering not going. How did it end up being? Was it good?
Um,
That's not promising, that intro there.
I mean, every band has their politics and problems, and I was caught in the middle of it because of being a rookie, according to them. And but the thing is, I learned very fast, and I had the least experience, but I was a very mature young person, and where people see problems, I see opportunity, or I see a way of learning something to become better, and I cannot. It's not my responsibility to build your capacity as a human being, but at the end of the day, the music is good. Um, I believe that the band was where it needed to be, but I wanted to take it somewhere else, and that was maybe arrogant and whatever. But I saw potential, and when I see a child, for example, people are aware that I'm not religious and I don't believe in this stuff, but they would ask me, so what do you believe in? And if there's a child around, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna show you that child, and I say I believe in the potential of the human being, of what they can become based on the environment and what we do to be an example. You know. So, but when it comes to band experiences, there is always politics. The best thing about a band is the music when we're playing. So the other stuff, I deal with them because I want to play music. At the end of the day.
Well, that's,
That's incredible.
oh, sorry, Rhonda, go ahead. This time you can go.
Uh, I was just gonna say, like, you've shared so much already, but I love how everything kind of weaves and ties into itself. And so, something you shared in the beginning reminded me of our last discussion with you, where you were talking about ancestral memory. So, from the way that you shared, it sounded like you were introduced to piano and then you were practicing, but like a week later, you were asked to play in church for the first time
Yes.
after 1 week, right? And so you had the confidence and you had the skill to be able to do that within a week. And then you were expressing that you found this book on playing guitar and you spent 6 days, and then you had a level of competency to be able to play after 6 days. I think that goes beyond you just, having the will and having the discipline to look at it and study. I think some of that ancestral memory had to come into play, that you're like, oh yeah, I remember this, and
Yeah.
you just start picking up and playing.
It is
And
possible.
yeah, and then, that then speaks to the fact that you're the youngest in this group that you're in at 24 and being called a rookie. But in your spirit, you carry the past, present, and future, as you've said yourself. So, they're seeing this newness of you as a 24-year-old, but within you, you carry all of this ancestral memory. You're carrying your future self and that skill and bringing it,
Yeah.
back, past and future, into the present moment, and able to express it in the way that you do as this other language, which also ties into what Donnie and I were speaking about before we brought you on. But I just think it's incredible. So I just wanted to comment that because you've shared so much, and I wanted to highlight those aspects of what you shared.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Donnie?
Oh, well, I like the path you went down much better than mine. I'm going to talk about the politics, so we can leave that alone.
Oh
Oh, yeah, I
yeah.
hear you.
Oh yeah.
Just,
There there was this one question. I'm the kind of human being that I value questions over statements. So when we were doing this, when we were on tour in 2019, there was this one school that we went to in particular, and a child asked me, I'm traveling with all these guys every day as a band. Do you all get along? That was the best question asked to me, and I immediately said no. And I had to be totally honest with them. I don't like musicians
Band
lying to
members
kids.
just look at you like,
Yeah.
what?
So it was, I mean, my bandmates were probably surprised that I said no, because I'm not going to pretend we get along. I said, you know what is to wake up to these faces every day? For so many weeks. You get tired of
Every
seeing them, you miss your
yes.
family, and you have to wake up to this again. And I told them the
It's
whole details.
And it's not just work, it's work and play. Like you're with them
Yeah.
24/7. Yeah, that's a
hmm
lot.
But these kids appreciated that, and the headmaster and the teachers, they came after me at the end and they said that they really liked the fact that I was honest with the kids. And the pandemic started a couple months after,
Mm.
and I got a message from the touring agency about these kids writing us. So all these kids wrote letters to us.
wow.
I read every single one of them, and then I took it to the band. for them to have. But these kids will never forget these things. And there was this strategy that I came up with to, instead of bringing the entire school or the entire state to Belize, we take Belize to them. So there are people on the band who have different skills and knowledge that they can share about Belize, and that's one of the things that we do while we're on tour, sharing with the kids at the cultural centers, the theaters, the music schools, the universities, the high schools. You know, we educate, and that's one of my main roles when we go on tour in the workshops, because I want to let people be aware of the world exists outside of the state, outside of the United States. There's a big world out there, you know? So that's what I
Yeah.
do in music. Music and education. Those are my main items that I walk around with.
Well, the education also is, I mean, the whole ancestry piece. You also, it's like you teach mindfulness or even self-love. I'm trying to figure out how to encompass all of that. You know, there's a lot that comes with the education that you bring for people.
We have to, you see how people always look at the difference in among things or between two things? I can, I have trained myself from a child to see the relevance,
Yeah.
how we're so similar. And so when I'm gonna share this short story with this, there's a property that I manage not too far from my house, because I do real estate as well. I didn't want to say anything like that, but I'm saying it now. And so this guy, this reporter guy, parks up in front of me, and he said he wants to speak with me. I thought he wanted to ask me some questions about the house, but he said something about, I want you to tell me your opinion about the gas prices going up. And I said that I don't have an opinion about the gas prices going up. And he said that I think you do. And I want to know, Belize wants to know, we all want to know. I said, no, you want to know. And so it took him about 6, 7 minutes to convince me to even speak about whatever on the phone that he wanted to record me. He wanted to interview me for the news. And I told him, yo, this face is a public figure that I don't need to be in the news. And plus, my opinions are too strong for the media, right? so, so I told him, but because I need you to leave this property, I'm gonna do this just one time, and it will never happen again. I was very straight with him, because you're not persuasive. You cannot persuade me to do this, but I'm gonna do it for my own reason. So he starts the camera, the record button, and he asks me what's my opinion about the fuel prices going up, and I said I have no opinions about the food prices going up, the fuel, the gas prices, sorry, and but I says, but the more the prices go up, the more money I make. I benefit from from the fuel prices going up. And he asked me what I meant, and I had to explain. I said, well, if the gas prices go up, I have to do something called salary adjustment. I get inspired to make more money, you know, so that I don't lose. At the end of the day, I'm not a loser. So, and I told him that I find so many ways to make money through music, through real estate, and things that people want to pay for. And I do not blame the government for all of this shit happening. I put everybody in the country responsible to put these people in check, because we do not have the literacy, we don't have the aggressiveness, and we don't have the tools enough to do the things so that we don't have to complain in the end. And at the end of the interview, I connected a lot of dots: the education system, the financial literacy, all the other stuff, taxes. And at the end, he asks me, so what's your opinion about the Duke coming to Belize? I said, have a nice day. And in the evening time, I expected that my cousins or some relative or friend would tell me, hey, I saw you on TV. This guy
Yes.
was biased as. So he didn't post this stuff. He didn't submit it. I didn't tell him what he wanted to hear. I didn't have
Yeah.
a problem with the prices.
Yeah. You know, it's
So that's that.
interesting. And that's too bad that he didn't put it up, because that's an interesting perspective that could have helped a lot of people,
Oh
especially
yeah,
a lot
Absolutely.
of young people, could have inspired them. But
that is not the intention of many people.
Well, so my undergraduate studies are in journalism, and I have 30 years in a journalism career. And I'll never forget the first time it was a major network with a major TV show, and one of the producers said to me, "Never ask a question that you don't know the answer to." And I was like, well, what kind of journalism is that? Like I want to find things out. I mean, I'm really of the opinion that whomever is speaking has better knowledge about the subject, especially if the subject is themselves, than I do. And then my questions should inspire them, right, to keep talking. But very much so, the stories are typically in people's heads before they come, and you're supposed to ask questions that you know the answers to, so you can file a story that makes sense, that you already knew what it was going to be before you get there. But to me, that's not true journalism. And well, for me, I'm more of a storyteller. I want to tell a good story, and what I already know isn't going to be the best story. You have more information than I do. I want your story. I just want to extract it from you and spread it out, and make it palatable for people, make it
Yeah.
accessible for people, make it enjoyable for people. But you have the story.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
there's one thing that I failed to mention. When I was younger, my mother's first cousin, when I was in I think second year of high school, he says to me, "You should put down the guitar because it doesn't pay in Belize. Music doesn't pay in Belize." Now, in my mind, I'm playing my guitar, I'm listening to this guy, and in my mind, a cook cannot tell me how to build a house. So, I did not pay that any mind. I continued to do what I love. I was staying out of trouble. I was managing my grades. There was not a problem. I didn't have a problem. And so, one of the things that I started to ask myself is, how do I make money from music? So when my career actually started out of high school, I started to find different ways. And I even ventured into copyright law, in distribution, in how to run a record label company, in how to convince people in sales and marketing to buy a product that I have to put on the stage. And so when I go to negotiate with uh, someone who wants to hire me or me and my performance, they wonder why I'm asking them financial questions. What's your entertainment budget? You know? And this is non negotiable. I didn't tell you it was negotiable. So they're wondering if they're talking to a manager or a musician. And I found so many ways how to make money from music. And that's what I teach in Belize. I give free workshops during the pandemic for several months, every week. How to monetize your assets as a musician. And so that's one of the things that I've been doing as a music professional. I've been teaching copyright law in intellectual property, and also how to distribute your music so it can be available for purchase and streaming to be paid. How you make money as a songwriter when someone records your music or when you record your music. Like everything put together so you can easily make money if this is the path that you choose. And these are some of the things that I've been teaching in the high school. I created the music curriculum as someone who went to study in education. So these are things that I travel to do to build my capacity as well as to share with musicians from the different countries that I travel, not only in Belize. So as the Garifuna Collective, I love traveling with the Garifuna Collective because it puts me in a lot of musical environments where I can interact with people who deal with the money, who deal with the organization, you know? So that's one of the things I wanted to share, that I'm more interested in the business of music. And that's why I was invited to join a new association here yesterday. Um, I think I told you I was out. I'm the board director that deals with the business of music. So that was the first meeting yesterday.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now,
So go ahead, Gunny. Go.
I think I was just going to ask about his upcoming trip. Is that for your band?
My upcoming trip,
to
I'm gonna
Budapest?
be on vacation for like a year and a half. I'm sorry, a month and a half.
Oh wait, did you?
I'm gonna be on vacation for a month and a
You
half.
spoke. You said you wanted to be like me, and I was about to say, "See, I need to be like you."
I, in in my reality, my vacation is 3 months.
Okay.
But a month and a half, I'm gonna be in the United States helping out, family and friends. Because one of the professions I also created, you know what? Since everyone wants to be a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, and all of these things that existed a long time ago traditionally, I wanted to create things. I'm a creator. I want to create jobs, create new works that have never been in existence before. So imagine me coming to spend a week or a couple of days with you just to develop your mentality,
Mm.
you know, to find out where you are and where you want to go and formulate conversations and hangouts just based on what you want to accomplish mentally so that it can impact your decisions and what you're going to do in your life or whatever you're already doing. So, during the time I'm going to be in the US, the last 2 weeks, I'm going to head to Budapest for a course, and it's in music and intangible heritage. I'm gonna be doing a course at a university there, for 1 week, and then when I come back to Belize, I should have a couple of days or maybe 2 weeks to prepare to leave to Mexico, get the European visa, then go to Europe for like 3 to 4 weeks on tour. So yeah, I'm gonna be touring for 3 to 4 weeks in Europe. The countries that I can remember are Czech Republic, the UK, France, back to Hungary as well. I believe uh, Belgium. I need to check the calendar, but I can't wait for the opportunities of meeting more people and learning a lot.
Yeah.
You know, the music
So,
is gonna be there, so.
so how can we follow you on your tour, and how can people find your music? Do you have, Instagram and all of that? How can we follow you?
The Garifuna Collective on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. There's also the Garifuna Collective website. I think we created a TikTok, or we're going to, but that's how you follow.
Okay.
I'm not big on social media anymore, but but my, but there's a marketer in the capital who invited me to a meeting because she wants to sell me, and as a solo artist, because of my business mind and as well as how I can easily tell what I want and how I want to be sold, and she's very creative in formulating ways to sell. So she wants to sell me for free.
Wow.
So she wants me to create all these social media stuff again, because I came off social media, was too much, and I didn't. So I don't have to manage these pages and these platforms. So someone will be doing it.
That's the
That's
way to go.
it
You're
is.
supposed to be making money.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love money.
And
Well,
money loves you.
we appreciate you so much, Sasamu. We're so grateful that we were able to speak with you on two different occasions.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much for all that you've shared with us. And we will look for your music and look forward to hearing more from you.
Super. I appreciate that, and thanks for having me here again. Like the other day when we were on the other live. So, the questions. One last note. When I did these workshops from April to about November of 2020, when the pandemic started, I did them on Zoom. I had so many people from different countries that were part of these music business workshops that they had no idea that I benefited the most. And I benefited the most because of all the questions that were asked. I love when people ask me questions I don't know, or ask a question in a way that makes me think. So the questions help me to grow as well. I'm benefiting from your show.
Oh, that's wonderful. We're making you
Thank you.
money.
Oh yeah. Remember, the future is all the same here. So I already
Yes.
made that money that I'm gonna make a couple days and weeks from
I
now.
love it.
Awesome.
All right, ladies.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having me. You
Thank you
ladies are
so much.
beautiful. your minds,
You as
and
well.
keep doing what you're doing. I
Thank
appreciate
Thank
you
it.
you. It's
so
been a
much.
treat. Take
All
care.
right.